The death of branding. Oh, yeah, that's where we're going today. And I want to share with you what we should start doing instead if we want to build our business, especially if we're 40, 50, and over. I've seen lots of people getting this wrong. The personal brand. And the skeptic might say, well, Ryan, you're building a personal brand. And yes, I am kind of, sort of. But I see people getting it wrong and doing the opposite of what you actually should be doing. They think that personal branding should be about, you know, here's what I had for lunch, and just using your bubbly personality to just run around and look what I'm doing and look what I'm wearing and don't I look cute? And here's a guy I know, nice guy, but one color I've never worn much is green. I want to see that start changing, but that is not personal branding. That's a little bit kind of self-centered, me, me, me. And the reality is, if you want to build a brand, there are two important factors you must know. And again, I see everyone doing this wrong, and it might sound simple, but it's really important to watch this a few times, not only to hear my soothing voice, but to let it sink in. Number one is it's always about them. Them comes before you. And what I mean by that is, if you're doing a social post, if you're doing an email, if you're doing a YouTube video, you can you can teach from personal experience, especially if you're a little bit older. That's good. Like, you should tell from stories and from life experience and what you've done and ups and downs. But there has to come a time in your marketing and in your business that you flip it and talk about what's in it for them. Not just, "Hey, I'm feeling great. Who wants to celebrate?" But, "Hey, here's what I learned. I learned that, when I was trying to get a job as, and try to move up to CFO in the company, here's why I didn't get the job. Here's what I learned. And for you, if you're trying to get a job as a CFO, here are certain things you need to pay attention to." You see that little shift? It always flips it back to them. And easy ways to do is just make it about them, right? How does this relate to them? How does this help them? How does it change their life? How does it even entertain them? But it still has to come back to them. So that's one thing. It always has to be about them. It's not about you. It's not about what you had for lunch. You could say, and let's say you're a nutrition person. Here was my lunch. It was salmon with broccoli and blah blah blah, and here's why it's good for you, or here's a simple recipe on how to make it, so I think you're going to enjoy it, and here's why you want more omega-3s in your diet, as opposed to, look at my lunch, doesn't it look delish? And please don't say delish, that's kind of annoying. um the second thing, this is even, I don't know if it's more important, but it's just as important. The idea comes before the person. Okay, so many people, when they're trying to do personal branding, again, they make it me, 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 and people are like, "Oh, you're so funny, you're so witty, you're so smart. Just start a YouTube channel." And then people float around from just showing off things and kind of jumping from topic to topic, and there's no central idea. Now, I'm not talking to people who are teaching pure entertainment like the Mr. Beast, and my son watches some of those people. I have no idea any of their names, but they'll do like basketball shots and trick shots and, "Hey, I'm gonna eat 500 hot dogs today." That's entertainment. There's there's not really a teaching lesson going on. I'm speaking to the people who want to have more of an information advice type business. Maybe you're selling courses or coaching or consulting or speaking or writing. That's who I'm speaking to. So there needs to be an idea. There needs to be something that people start to associate with you, and that happens through repetition. Your personal brand emanates from that. So when you start talking about a product or an idea or program, that comes first. And that's why I think people should not put your face on the cover of a book unless you're already a super well-known celebrity. You're president of the United States and it's a memoir. Okay, put your face on. But if you're new, you shouldn't be on the cover, because it's not going to sell more copies, and it's not about you. It's about the idea. And your personal brand develops from this idea. The more you talk about the idea, the more the brand develops, the personal brand. So, for example, now that I'm doing YouTube again and kind of getting back in and building my quote unquote personal brand, I am leading with an idea. And what I call this is an umbrella idea. An umbrella idea is your big overview idea. It could be usually 2 to 3 words, sometimes 4 words. That's not as important, but there needs to be one big idea that anchors everything you speak about. And the idea can have multifacets, right? So mine is really the big umbrella is a one person business. It's the idea of running a business by yourself without a big team. And the nuance, the way I'm differentiating a little bit is that I'm speaking to people who are older. I'm 52 and I'm speaking to people kind of 45, 50, 60 and up. I'm not speaking to an 18-year-old. They're watching, but I'm not directing it at them. So you can still niche down by age, by gender, marital status, industry, profession, hobby, skill. You could say I'm helping 40-year-old soccer moms. I'm helping um, female CEOs. Like it could be any of those, but there still needs to be the umbrella idea that comes first, and the personal brand comes from there. I know some people on the video, like, I get a lot of positive comments. One or two people say, "You talk too much." Too bad. This is important, and it's worth repeating, and it's worth you really understanding that you cannot if I just came on and just started talking about myself, "Hey guys, it's Ryan, and I did this today, and I'm picking up my kids, and I dropped the kid off at college. See you tomorrow." You're not really going to stick around. But if I'm talking about all of these different things, whether it's email, whether it's getting traffic, whether it's YouTube, whether it's creating courses or events, it all comes under my umbrella, right? So what is your umbrella? And from there, you get the nuance with the niches. You could find little slices of your market. Your personality comes through while you're teaching your content and your big idea. And an example, who someone who had nailed his was a book title and an idea. This idea of Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? This juxtaposition of a rich dad and a poor dad. That stuff works really well. Like tiny YouTube channel, big profits, right? It's that yin and yang. So Robert Kiyosaki nailed it. Sold millions and millions of copies, built a really good, strong brand. And the idea was first. He led with the idea. You don't see his name and face all over the original copy. It was the idea, right? However, I think, and look, Robert Kiyosaki is very successful. He's much more well known than me. Kudos to Mr. Kiyosaki. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. But now he's getting away from that and he's starting to make his stuff more about him, right? Like this is a new book here, Fake. So it's now his face is front and center, and he's starting to get away from this Rich Dad Poor Dad idea and getting more into the personal thing. And I think it's more of a strategic mistake. I think he should be leaning still into the Rich Dad Poor Dad. So it's an example of sometimes you nail it and sometimes you kind of go off the reservation. And what happens, and it happens to a lot of us, maybe we have a hit or we have success and we start thinking, oh, it's all about me, me, me. And it still is always going to be about your idea. So I don't think we should ever lose that. And if you want to like really think about what is your big idea? What is that thing? What is your umbrella term? Can you get it down to 2 or 3 words? Can you and not generic, and I'll do other videos, and I've done really deep trainings on finding your idea and wording it the right way. But start thinking now about, okay, even if it is a quote unquote personal brand, doing it the right way with under the 2 lenses of putting them first, the people first, and the idea first, right? The people first and the idea first. And what is that thing? If you can get it down to 2 or 3 words. And by the way, if you have your big idea, write it below. Let me see. Write it in the comments. Go for it. I dare you. I double dare you. Write it below. And if you want to keep jamming on this stuff, get in my world, get on my list, write flywheel below. I'll send you my 3-step flywheel image and let's start jamming on this stuff. There's so much good stuff we can do, especially as we're getting older and we want to build this one person business. But we just have to avoid the pitfalls of some of these young people talking about, oh, build your personal brand, to be an influencer. Let's do this the right way. And as always, I'm here to help and to serve. I answer all your comments, the good, the bad, the snarky. Bring it on. It's a great thing about getting older. You don't care anymore. Like, I don't care. Just go. Let's have some fun. And speaking of fun, I am now going to see you on the next video because this train keeps on rolling and we are just getting warmed up. I'll see you in the next one.